CPK, of course, and we're going to go over everything that happened between yesterday going into today as far as the competitive Dota 2 scene. So, again, I like to do this every day, so be sure to check out all my daily recaps in case you haven't, and know that I do this every day when I begin my stream, or at least I try to. Anyways, here we are on a Friday once again, and pretty much the same things to go over, really just kind of updating how things have ultimately played out here. Now, we'll go ahead and start with Southeast Asia, actually, as far as the Dota 2 Asian Championships go, because it has officially wrapped up. We found out our first qualifying team of these 4 regional qualifiers currently going on out of the Southeast Asian region, and as it kind of spoils right there, it sure enough ended up being Team Faceless in the end, but this was an interesting ride, as we were talking about yesterday, we saw WG Unity actually knocked down Team Faceless to the losers bracket initially, after also defeating TNC Pro before that. So WG Unity on a momentum going into the grand finals. Faceless had to then take out TNC 2-0 to get back to the grand finals to get that rematch, and then Faceless ultimately winning the series 2-0 to claim their spot, and doing so in decisive fashion. You look at that right there, a 29-minute victory followed by a 16-minute victory. This is a grand finals match, a qualifying match to determine which of these two teams is going to the main event, going to the the Dota 2 Asian Championships, where there's no doubt going to be a hefty prize pool and the main event and everything, and this is a pretty big deal. Faceless taking care of business. Oh my God, do they ever take care of business? A little bit tougher against TNC Pro Team, as you see those matches there, the time and the lineups even, but again, in the end, taking care of business on both of their series here today, doing so in decisive fashion, and again, ultimately advancing on to the main event. So what's up, Unero and chat, by the way? Good to see you once again. Anyways, looking back at this here, so Faceless is going to be representing the Southeast Asian region at the main event that will be taking place, I believe, in March, if I'm not mistaken. Late March going into early April right there. So as far as the European qualifiers, the other qualifiers that is progressing on, we are currently in our losers bracket matchup, and I was actually just watching the game 1 that just finished up after 82 minutes. Yes, that's right, an 82-minute game 1 match. It was a back-and-forth battle. It was insane to watch, and I only caught the last 20 minutes of it or so, but that in itself was just absolutely insane to watch, just the back and forth, but ultimately Bears taking out Cloud9 in the first game after 82 minutes, and it was a hell of a game to watch. I highly recommend watching that, but if not anything, again, the last 20 to 30 minutes or so. Not that you need to watch the whole thing. If you don't have time to watch the whole thing, I can't blame you. Point is, it was a great game, but Bears took it to the end, and it's so hard to be the losing team in a game like that and then have to play another game right after that. Down 1-0 in a best of 3. I was also tuning into game 2 right before I started my stream right here, and Bears actually was starting to get a pretty hefty lead over Cloud9. So we'll keep an eye on that and, of course, see what ultimately happens there. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bears closes out the series and takes it 2-0. Now, to be honest, I'm not surprised with Bears advancing on if that ends up being the case. I personally picked them to beat Team Liquid in the winners finals, but of course Liquid actually knocking down Bears to the losers finals to get to this point as they defeated them 2-1 yesterday, despite Bears winning the first game, and then you see the grind that happened shortly after. Again, Bears, they've had some longer matches. You look at the length of these games here, all 40-plus, even a 60-minute match. Their first round, even a 51-minute match against Cloud9 in that first-round matchup, and now the 82-minute match. So Bears has been playing they probably averaged the longest time. I wouldn't be surprised out of the teams, at least in this playoff. Anyways, in the initial matchup, of course, yesterday, Cloud9 versus Secret in the losers bracket as well. It also happened yesterday. Cloud9 did defeat Secret, of course, 2-1 to then get to this spot. But again, on the verge of being knocked out and on the verge of having a winners final rematch in the grand finals of Liquid versus Bears. Again, there is no advantage in the grand finals, as we saw in the Southeast Asian tournament. If you were in the grand finals, it's a straight-up best-of-3 match to determine which team is going to the main event. So will it be Bears, this kind of team that almost feels like they came out of nowhere, making their debut here with this no doubt solid roster, but especially with the player of Firo here, he's becoming quite the star in the European region, I think, just simply from this event. This is a player that no doubt people are really excited to see progress forward. Yapstor has really proven that he's definitely a talent, again, formerly of Escape Gaming. Moving on, though, himself, Forav, of course, former MVP Phoenix, fought great history in the scene, and 343, same history there in the Southeast Asian scene. So this team, it's not surprising to see do well, but it's definitely taken a little bit of a shock, honestly, myself, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So, but it's going to set up for a great grand final set to happen later today, of course. And that's going to be fun to take a look at. So, American qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken, start later tonight. Yep, it looks like in about 4 hours there, and then 7 hours of the next series. So Complexity Onyx will kick it off, and then NP versus Digital Chaos will be the following match. That, no doubt, is the big one right there that everyone's going to be excited to watch. Of course, that's happening because DC finished second in Group A with their earlier loss to Wanted. But they did get their revenge, of course, winning the next time they played them, and thus advancing on in the first place. So making the playoffs, that's what matters, though. DC the favorite with the long NP, and then Complexity Onyx, going to see which of those two teams advance on. Complexity also looking pretty good lately. Again, they went undefeated in their group, of course. And, overall, they are playing solid. Again, you look at the Star Ladder event as well. Even though they didn't, of course, make the top spot, DC did in the end against NP, but they did not lose a series. They actually split 3 series and won the other 4 series. They 4-3-0 record. They literally did not lose a series in the groups of the Star Ladder series. So I think, again, you really have to kind of look at stuff like that and realize that Complexity is a team that is definitely serious. And I know I have a tendency to be somewhat biased towards them, but I feel like I have to defend the fact that they actually are a great team despite what people suggest and say about the team there. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. Of course, overall going to be a great playoffs there. And even Team Onyx, they're kind of a wild card team on any given Sunday. They can definitely make some plays and pull off some upsets here. So it's going to be a fun playoffs there. The CIS qualifiers, I don't think starts until tomorrow morning, I believe. Yeah, in about 21 hours from now. So CIS playoffs going into tomorrow. We will know how things are looking for that as well. So, again, those are the 4 regions overall for the Dota 2 Asian Championships taking place. I'm looking forward to seeing how that continues on. But so far, we got Faceless as one of our 2 qualified teams, or one of our 4 qualified teams, excuse me, from all these regions right here. I'm looking at this right here, Mr. Cat Invitational. I'm not exactly sure what this is. This is actually the first time I'm hearing about this. It looks like an SEA tournament, kind of glancing over it real quickly. There's some pretty legit teams in this event, including Fnatic, who literally only has 2 players, and they don't even have Mushi anymore, so I don't know what something tells me they're going to be replaced. But, yeah, this is going to be curious to see how this event looks here. But, of course, you got all the top dog teams of the Southeast Asian region, Faceless, 4 Games Unity, TNC, Mineski, so it's a $25,000+ prize pool. So, pretty legit tournament, actually, it looks like. That's going to be interesting to kind of keep an eye on, the Mr. Cat Invitational. It looks like it starts later on tonight, so going into tomorrow morning and takes place over the next couple of 2-3 weeks here. Group stage into a playoff format. So, all right, that'll be kind of fun to progress and to follow through that event. So the Mr. Cat Invitational. And then last but not least, as somebody is pointing out in chat, of course I do want to talk about that one. We do got the Moonduck Tournament, the elimination mode, as Sir Action Slacks would say, in his great voice right there. Elimination mode 3.0 officially kicking off, I believe, later on tomorrow? Yeah, it's kicking off tomorrow with the European bracket. So, again, it's actually a $25,000 prize pool itself. Of course, elimination mode is this kind of quirky event that it basically allows the community to ban heroes going into each day of play, on top of every time a hero is played or picked or banned, I believe is what they're kind of changing around for this format. They cannot be picked or banned the following game in a series. So basically in a best-of-3 series coming down to the final game, if it happens to go to Game 3, you're going to be looking at a very, very limited pool. And on top of that, I think they even raised the initial amount of bans by the community to something like 30 bans. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. I was going to do that myself, actually, later on today, so on stream here. But I'm going to ban my own heroes as the first polls are up. In fact, pulling that up real quickly. So yeah, if you haven't voted yet, definitely vote, guys, for the first day. Ban which heroes you do not want to see. And it's going to be fun to see how things shape up right here. So, again, the elimination mode, a great event. It's fun to have different style of events like this, as it really kind of it's a great change of pace for not only the spectators but even the teams themselves. And this is a pretty good lineup. We got obviously OG, the defending Boston Major champions, Alliance at Phenom and Ninjas in Pajamas from Europe, and then Wanted, Complexity, Onyx, and Freedom from North America. So we don't have all these A-list teams necessarily, but we got a couple thrown in there, mixed with some little bit lower tier, and it should really provide a entertaining and fun event that they no doubt do a good job of pulling off. So this starts tomorrow. Look forward to that, guys. Elimination Mode 3.0. Outside of that, I think that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to cover here in the Dota 2. Not the Dota 2, sorry, got distracted there. The BreakyCPK breakdown, daily recap. Man, I'm all over the place. Anyways, thanks for tuning into the daily recap, guys. What is February 10th, 2017? This is a Friday. Who cares right now? Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and be sure to check out all my daily recaps on my YouTube and also, again, at the beginning of my Twitch streams that I try to do weekly here. Daily every week, I should say. Coming at you at twitch.tv/BreakyCPK. So until next time, guys, I'll see you.